Howdy, folks. Welcome to Wednesday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, Techthusiasm live stream. We've been flittering back and forth a little bit here on the channel between the Wednesdays and kind of the weekend hangouts, but last week and this week I had some special stuff to do. I really like kind of this live format for the activity we're going to do tonight. Basically, I think it's a little different than kind of just the regular talking. We'll actually get in, set up some gear, play with some stuff, and talk about a whole lot of things. So last week we did the deep dive, hands-on setup of the new Control4 Halo remotes. I've been using that all week and kind of ready to make some impressions videos, as well as some more elaborate videos about how the Control4 is, the Halo's working with the Apple TV, particularly in the Kaleidoscape. So kind of got that queued up. Whole bunch of stuff going on the channel. As you're coming in, hit the like button, please. Say hey, sound off in the comments. Let me know who's here. We got a couple of regulars showing up here. Chinta put hello, Julius, as always. How's it going? And Bodie McBoatface. I love that name. We read the Dogman books, my son and I, and there's a character in there named Barky McTreeface. First time I read that, I thought that was hilarious. So tonight we are going to install, experiment with, play with, set up, connect, configure the Anthem MDX. I have now hit for the cycle, I guess you could say, and I'm all in on Anthem gear. So Anthem STR preamp running the living room, Anthem AVM 70 multi-channel preamp running the home theater, and now an Anthem MDX. MDX-16 driving 8 zones of audio throughout the house. So as I've kind of told the story on the channel, I have a collection of whole home audio here. Got dual camera set up here tonight. Woo, magic of the internet. 8 zones of audio through the house here that we had installed when we originally built it, and integrated kind of throughout it. We've got front porch, back porch, an upstairs bedroom, a downstairs room, which actually ended up becoming the theater. That was originally going to be a home gym, so we put a zone of audio in there. Our general open basement play area right on the other side of this door, and then another room that my wife uses as kind of a craft room. And I've had the house running this whole time on Control4, now kind of Triad, but Control4/Triad audio. There's 6 or 8 inch pairs of round speakers in the ceilings of all those zones, including the covered porches outside. I have a Triad 8 zone matrix amplifier there, which is really cool. I'll get into some details about how I actually use it. And then the Control4, you can see this guy's Control4 branded, that 8 zone multi-channel amplifier. And I hate to say it, but for the majority of the time in the house here, the Control4 distributed audio hasn't been the most reliable products in my rack. Maybe that's a nice way to say it. So that matrix amplifier has been replaced. It was replaced last year. And then as soon as I finally got that replaced, the amp died. We would try to play audio to a zone, and we'd get like a coming out of the speakers. Talked with my dealer, talked with Control4. It's pretty well out of warranty. It had already been actually swapped out once for some other failure to play problems. And now the diagnosis, kids up above my head there, now the diagnosis is that it's gone. So we needed a replacement. And after shopping around a little bit, kind of thinking about what's the right thing to buy, kind of falling in strong like with the Anthem gear, looking at some other options, decided to go ahead and spend a little bit more money, not replace Control4 Triad with more Control4 Triad, but instead to stick with Anthem. So again, we've got the MDX16. It'll run 16 speakers, basically 8 pairs across those 8 zones. So tonight we're gonna uninstall this, just gonna kind of hang out live, set this thing up, get it connected. I'll see as we go through the process here. Hopefully I can get a camera kind of behind there. I need like a GoPro, something on my head to be able to show it. yeah, and we'll kind of hang out, take some questions, go over Anthem. We'll get it fired up, take a look at the UI. The UI on the MDX is very much akin to the web UI, as I understand it, of the AVM 70 and 90 series. The STR, unfortunately, doesn't have the web UI. I really wish it did. If there's any way to back update Anthem, I would really like to see that. Otherwise, maybe in an STR too. But some other stuff has been going on before we kind of jump into the work. I had to do some quick network gear swappage. Something else stopped working in my setup that had been in service for several years. On the back of the rack, just on the other side, up and behind there, I've got a 24 port gigabit Ethernet switch. It was just an unmanaged simple switch where all of the wiring of the house ran to, and of course everything that would be Ethernet wired, internet connected, network connected in the rack is wired to. And that thing just stopped working yesterday. Completely kaput, no signals, no network activity, nothing. So Amazon to the rescue, did a little bit of quick research. I like the Netgear networking gear, and I actually made a video about this that'll be coming to the channel here soon, kind of about how I see and how I choose the networking equipment that I use. I don't spend a lot of money on super expensive premium managed networking gear. Netgear business, I have a Netgear router, have served me quite well, I would say. And now, so this switch is in, which I was hoping that the network connection stuff being down might have affected the ability to set up and configure the MDX tonight, but that will not be the case. So Amazon basically made a next day delivery of that Netgear switch, and it took all of whatever 15 minutes to toss it in and good to go. So a couple questions, just hit these really quick. Oh, Bodie's from Kalamazoo, Southeast Michigan. Awesome, love it. And then, are you still planning to move your living room gear to the living room? Yes. So over here on the rack, we've got a couple of Triad rack amp subs that drive some subwoofers in my living room. And then the Anthem STR. I want all this stuff upstairs. We actually successfully had our handyman come in the last week, and over the course, let's say the last week and a half, and take care of one of the projects. I think I had mentioned in one of the prior lives that we have roughly 5, say, handyman projects that need to be done around the house. Some repair work, touch-up work, some paint work, and other things like that. And he knocked off a couple things that we kind of grouped together at the front of that list. So we're getting closer to being able to take on the living room project. So still putting the ideas together in my mind, but I've still kind of committed mentally to the salamander cabinet, moving the stuff up, the NAD. Still got my eye on that NAD M28 as the amplifier for the living room, rebuilding the PC into that console style case, one of those Silverstones, either one of the rack ones or the GD11, and getting all that stuff integrated with kind of the modular in-wall speaker wall setup. So it's the wheels are spinning on that in the background kind of slowly, but I do hope and expect that we will, we'll get to that here as the months go on. Yeah, never seen a switch die. Yep. It was an Asus. I forget the model number, but it had been in service for probably close to a decade. We're coming up on our 10th year, actually, since we moved into this house. And a lot of that infrastructure went in right away. I'm pretty sure I probably put that switch in like the first year that we were living here. So 9-ish years, I guess. And yeah, I've had some other problems where like it stopped communicating and I'd have to come down here and unplug it and plug it back in and reboot it. And then finally, that's it. It took its final dump just in these last few days here. So hey again, Easy HT Tech, welcome to the other YouTubers, the other content creators and such that are might pop up here tonight as well. Awesome community of folks that I have the pleasure of interacting with all around this hobby, this business of content creation. So well, let's dive in here and take a look at this. Oh, I should show one other thing off. Something that I had not expected to have in my hands anytime soon. But I had made a post kind of teasing it. I haven't even had a chance to put this in yet. But that, my friends, is a Lumagen I actually forget the model number, 5348, Radiance Pro 5348, from a really cool, super friend of the channel that we will be talking to soon. I will be setting this up shortly. Not going to have it very long. I did not buy it. Let me be clear about that. I did not buy it. It is not mine. It is here as kind of a fun opportunity to demo. I'll set it up here shortly in the theater, of course, serving the JVC NX7, and put it through its paces. I'm really curious to see just what the Lumigen is able to do in a setup. I've done a lot of content on the channel about using lens memories and aspect ratio management and all that stuff for your projector setup and your screen and all that. And so primarily kind of looking, I think, at really two main things out of the Lumigen time is how much better maybe does a Lumigen do all that stuff versus the kind of the manual method of using the installation modes and all that. And then of course the tone mapping. How does HDR tone mapping and such like that compare to the JVC adaptive tone mapping? All right, so on to the main course. Let's see, I haven't even opened this thing up yet, so this is completely from scratch. Let me comment, I really love this thing. If you've got a rack and you've got a lot of your equipment and such in a rack, always, absolutely, if you have the space for it. Of course, I have the benefit of having a double here, but man, this drawer is a lifesaver. It holds so much stuff, keeping it accessible for, you know, tinkering, playing around, setting stuff up, and all of that. So I hope we don't have to shift things around too bad. I don't even remember how large this thing is from a height perspective. We've got, I think, 3U right here on the Control4 amp, and then 1U. If we have to move stuff up, it's going to take a little bit more just in the shifting aspects, but we'll figure that out as we go. So Fragile must be Italian. This has actually been sitting down here for probably a week or so, awaiting the opportunity to set it up. Let's see what we get. Oh, double box. Let's put it down. Always like double boxes on expensive, large equipment. All right, this is going to be. All right, let's see here. I'm going to be a little bit on and off camera here. I am using the AirPods though, so that my voice can come through fine. Hopefully, let me know if there's any audio troubles. Again, I did nothing with this yet. I'm literally cutting the tape on the boxes. I thought about maybe doing something to expedite the process of the setup, but then I figured, well, if we want it to be a real full-on, you know, experience, we'll kind of just do it as we go. All right, what do we got here? You know what we can do? Let's actually take this camera and do a little shot. Oh, the box. All right, we have a cardboard topper there. We have a power cord. There's a two-pronger, sorry. No ground pin. No ground pin on the power cord, even for the amplifier. We've got feet, little bag of feet, which we shouldn't be using. I understand that the rack mount stuff is in here. We got a 3.5 millimeter trigger cable and the ARC accessory kit. This is, of course, we're using ARC Genesis. This looks like a different microphone than other Anthem gear, of course, that I have. Now, the AVM70 is going to have the latest, greatest microphone. even compared to the SDR, because the SDR, you know, is an older product, and I don't believe they've started shipping the new silver microphone with the STRs. This feels much cheaper. It's got an old style mini USB port on it. It feels plasticky, very, very light. If that has anything to do with the measuring quality of the microphone, I don't know, but it definitely feels cheaper than this guy. This is the new style microphone that comes with the AVM70. Now, pro tip for Anthem stuff, if you happen to be a dual or now a trifecta Anthem owner, you don't have to use the mic that came with a given device to calibrate it. Whether that makes any appreciable difference or whatnot, I'm not entirely sure. But when I calibrate my STR, I don't use the mic that came with the STR. I use this one. And the Genesis software knows the devices. It knows which microphone is connected. And as far as I understand things, I've never had a problem running a ARC Cal with the better mic. All right, so let's see here. Take off. I'm getting a little nervous. I didn't see any rack ears, but they're actually on there. We'll take a look at it in a second. Let's set it down. It does look like a 3U, but I'm probably going to want some space between that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we fit here. Documentation, yeah, whatever. I don't need that, and that's it. That's all that's in the box. Foam instead of, or like soft foam packing there instead of styrofoam. I don't know if that's necessarily any better for the environment or whatnot, but it is. I like all the indentations. So this is nice. This is nice packaging, right? You got all in the foam, all these nice indentations. Everything's kept nice and organized and cleanly installed. Let's go like this. We will close the inner box. Just want to make sure we don't have, just move this aside. And we will shift this stuff back to the rack. And I should be able to just hold on to this guy here. All right, let's see. Plastic off. If anybody has any questions, do fire them out, of course, please. Share them as we go. I'm more than happy to answer as much as I can. Ooh, nice. This thing's a little hefty. I don't know what the weight, technically what the weight is. Oh man, this is going to take a little more to set up. All right, so let's see. How can we do this? Let's go back here. And then this one is much more kind of on the fly. Whoops. Than my other streams setting stuff up, because we're in here hands-on. This isn't just software setup. We're doing some hardware setup. So let's see what we got. One of the things I think the Anthem signature is those red PCBs. I think they look great. I think it's cool that they do that. Some really, really nice looking boards, wiring stuff in there. Of course, this is all for ventilation. I don't believe this has a fan. I'm not entirely sure. I guess it won't matter for me because my stuff will be in the basement. We got that regular popular Anthem faceplate where we've got, screen and information here on the right and just kind of flat panel there on the left. Yep, the rack gears are already on. We take a look around the back. Lots of inputs and lots of inputs and outputs on this thing. So the cool thing about it I think, is that just like the STR and the AVM70 and the MRX receivers for that matter, let you do like the virtual inputs, and they give you a lot of power for like mapping how you want to use your stuff, your inputs and outputs and all that. I think that's one of the really cool virtues of the Anthem hardware software integration is the power of the configurability and all that. And this device is like very much the same way, in terms of we've got 8 analog inputs. We have 2 optical digital inputs, 2 digital coaxial inputs. There's an optical digital out, and of course regular network trigger, RS-232 port, power switch, and all that. And then the speakers, of course, are not banana wires. They're the Phoenix connectors here. So you get a little screwdriver, put your speaker wire in there, very clearly labeled L&R. Connect the speaker wire to the Phoenix connector, screw it down, and then plug the Phoenix connector in the back. But the thing with all these inputs is like they're not necessarily like so hard mapped to the zones, right? We've got 8 zones. So I think this gets back to Julius's question. Oh wait, no, that's wattage. We'll get to that in a second. So there's technically 8 zones. Each of them has an analog audio input, but then you have the digital inputs as well. And in the software and the way things are configured, you can kind of like cross map things, and there's like bridging capability. There's a massive amount of flexibility built into this thing. I won't actually be really even using, I would say, much of that flexibility, because I've got 8 outputs from my matrix switch. And so the way that we set up the house audio essentially is all AirPlay zones. And so that's really how we use it. And the really cool thing actually about the triad matrix switch over there is the fact that this thing, it has 8 analog audio outputs on it, but each one of those inputs basically presents itself as a discrete AirPlay target in the household. So when I pull up my my AirPlay on a phone, on an iPad, anybody in the house, my Mac, whatever, you know, I see kitchen, front porch, back porch, upstairs bedroom, playroom, craft room, etc. And it's so easy to just tap one of those, right, and then play to that zone. The signal goes to the triad matrix and then, of course, routes to the proper speakers. And with AirPlay 2, you can even double zone, like so nice. So it's like, okay, we're outside, something's going on, Halloween, we want to play spooky music outside. Well, AirPlay to porch, front porch, back porch, and you can do multiple zone targets simultaneously. Now you could also, I could also do that actually inside the configuration of the Anthem as well. And I'm going to have to play around and see like what's the best way to do it. But my goal, and I would recommend this, kind of stress this for anybody that might be considering doing a bunch of multi-zone audio around your house, is really think about what sources are you going to use and how are you going to use them. So my operative goal, right, is that I don't want, particularly like the family, I don't want the family to have to go into a Control4 app to manage audio. I don't even want the family to go into an Anthem app or to an Anthem web server to enable stuff and manage audio. I want them to pull up their iPad or their iPhone or their Mac, you know, or iTunes on the Windows PC. My wife still has a Intel NUC as her office driver computer, and so we AirPlay or network play via AirPlay to the zones in the house, often through that. I don't want them to manage any other app. I want them to just go through Apple's interface, pick the zone, and then use the volume control only on their device. So if you're AirPlaying from a phone, well, you know, then just go volume up and down on the device, not have to go into an app to change the volume, because nobody's going to ever do that. Nobody's going to remember how to do it. And so that's one thing that I really like about this. The one thing that I really, really do like about this triad Control4 matrix switcher is it presents 8 zones of AirPlay. And I don't know where else or how else you get that so succinctly and discreetly in like one box, right? One little 1U box for whatever that thing costs, maybe $1,500 or so. Even if you figure in the old days, you would have needed like airport expresses, or if you had a discrete AirPlay device, you're going to pay at least $50, maybe $75 for every individual discrete AirPlay target to show up separately. And then it would be a jumble of wires and multiple things to plug in. So I think this really works well, despite the fact that I've had recommended to me, and I've had conversations about like, well, we should really be using like a Blue Sound node or something like that as the audio source to distribute around the house. And I'm not sure about that because, again, being able to AirPlay to the discrete zones is too good. It's too good. One of the other things that I want to point out about this, nice, it actually has a chassis crown in case we get any humming or buzzing. I hope we don't have any problems like that. But every one of these zones, every one of the zones on the MDX here has a subwoofer output. And I think it's few and far between to find a distribution amplifier, a processor. They call it a distribution amp, but this thing is really like, it's a processor and the amplifier built into one. It's really doing both. But to have distribution with discrete subwoofer output via, a coax analog cable there. And then not only that, but you can run ARC in every zone. So this thing is giving you bass management. It's giving you EQ. It's letting you tune things. Once I really took a look at everything that this would let me do in the house audio and play around with, and kind of like the power and stuff that I was going to end up getting out of it, made me pretty well sold on going this route, even though it was more than just Control4 Triad amplifier might have cost. So, all right, a couple questions here. Nikita P, how's it going? Plan to use this as a poor man's turn-off to bass manage my surround rears and in ceilings to localize subs due to high crossovers and non-LCR speakers. Let me make sure. By this, do you mean an MDX or something else? Give me a confirmation on that. But yes, you would be able to do that because, again, everything is built in. You get zone and subwoofer outputs, and they don't have to be separate zones. Actually, I don't even know the extent to which like the flexibility of bridging and whatever, but I think people actually do buy these MDXs not to do like distributed audio always, like I'm planning to use it for. But in fact, some people buy it to like, do just rooms and all of that. So let me get Julius's question as well. How many watts does this kick out? I actually forgot. I'm just going to pull up the web page and we'll take a quick look. AnthemAV.com products. Should note right now, February 15th to March 31st, spring savings, 15% off MRX and AVM Anthem gear. So now is a good time. Now is a good time to pick that up. All right, so MDX16 should just throw out there. This is $35.99 on the MSRP. We're looking for specs. Here we go. 16 channels, up to 8 zones. Power output per channel into 8 ohm is rated at 60. Power output per channel into 4 ohms is rated at 120. And then there's a high output mode when you bridge per channel, runs up to 200. They don't publish a spec, for multiple channels driven. I do believe or understand that this is a Class D amp architecture. I would imagine that it delivers pretty good on its rated power. That will be plenty of power for what I've got. Again, in each of these zones, I've got like Triad 6. I think they're 6 or 8 inch rounds. I'd have to look up the specific models from some invoices a long time ago. But there's just a pair of speakers in each zone, in the ceilings, no subwoofers. And so 60/120, depending if, I don't remember what the impedance of those speakers were, somewhere between 4 and 8. I can't imagine it being much else. So Nikita's saying, yeah, AVR, MRX, RCA outs into an MDX16. Base managed surround rears and in ceilings to localize subs. So you must, so you're going to run a subwoofer in conjunction with all of those other independent speakers. That's pretty wild. But yeah, you would be able to do it again because you have the individual base management per channel, and you could do that. So this says the sale excludes the AVM90, the flagship not included. All right. Okay, let's see here. We need to get a couple of tools out, and they are in the handy dandy drawer. So I always keep my little tray of magnetic tipped screwdrivers, and then I got a couple of other little gadgets in here that are probably pretty neat, worth talking about, although one of them's not working. Oh yeah, they're dying. I need new batteries. So my wife and kids bought these for me. I don't even remember when, I think a year or so ago, but this is pretty cool. It's off of Amazon. You basically wrap it on your hand, right? And it's a finger light. Turn it on, the battery's out, but I got a light on my finger and a light on my thumb. And they come in a pair. Can't tell you how often I've used, yeah, they're both dead. Well, I'm not gonna use those tonight. But if they had energy, be better prepared, I guess, next time, huh? If I had energy, those things are pretty sweet. And of course, the headlight is also very useful. We'll probably be using this back there behind the rack. And then we'll see. We'll see if we need them. We'll see if we need them. Yeah, I can't see. Things get blurry for me right about here nowadays. And so if I get back there behind the rack, I can't pull this out from the wall far enough that I can read all of the back of the equipment. So I bought myself not that long ago a few pairs of the glasses there, and I wear them when special conditions call for it. All right, so first things first, we need to fully disconnect the existing amplifier and then get it out of there. I'm going to try to do all this by myself as well. I guess you'll find out on camera if I drop anything on myself, or if I need to call in a special assistant to take in and kind of put things out. So see if we had any more questions. Nothing popping in right now. Welcome everybody. Got a nice group here tonight. We are hanging out. We're going to install an Anthem MDX16 distribution amplifier for my 8-zone home audio. We've got it open, we got it unboxed, we just did a bunch of talking about it, and now we're going to get into the guts of it. All right, let's get back here. I'll see if I can move this camera over as well. Shift this rack out a bit. All right, let's see if I disconnect. I might even be able. No, I can't. That won't work. No, hold on. I'm messing stuff up here. All right, let's focus. Let's remove. Oh, I broke it. Stop camera. Present extra camera. There we go. There. All right, we're back. So let's see if we just set this here. Kind of. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. All right, so what are we looking at here? Let me turn this to the side a bit. I can see what we got. So back of the rack, this is the utility part of my rack. When I've done the rack tours, I've talked about this a little bit. Some extra light in here. This is the back of that drawer. Down underneath there is my power management. Got a Cyber Power UPS. Got a Furman that the amplifiers, the Parasounds are plugged into. And then there is our Control4 amp that we're taking out right here. Then we've got the matrix amp, and then the actual Control4 EA5 controller there. So we can see actually the existing Control4 amp was also Phoenix connectors, of all things. And I'm not afraid of messing up the order of things, although actually I probably should be, because I want to make sure that everything gets plugged into the right order. Oh, Dan. So Mr. Dan DeCarlo from AudioVision did this, and he numbered them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Way to go, Dan. That will be so easy. All right, so we got to disconnect all this stuff here. These are just, I comment a lot in the videos how I like to use like purpose-sized cables. These are just some monoprice 12-inch, 1 foot RCA analog audio cables. It keeps this junction here nice and clean. No extra cable baggage hanging around. Had these for quite a while. I might be inclined to replace them with some 1 foot Mogamis. I do like the world's best cable off of Amazon. Mogami wire, 2549 wire. It's kind of my wire of choice nowadays. But honestly, this is not. There'd be really very little reason to do that. It would be just for the fun of it. All right, so there should be. Oh no, we don't. I'm gonna need another Ethernet cable because this existing Control4 amp is not Ethernet based. It's not on the network. All right, so we are all disconnected. We are safe to unscrew. Here's where I have the biggest potential point of danger if I end up dropping something on myself. I honestly don't remember what this amplifier weighs. So where are we at? There we are. So don't laugh at me if this whole shindig comes tumbling down. If you have any questions, again, fire them out. Let me know. Nice leg shot there. And we will try to get this guy out of here. One of the cool things as well, this is smart how they did this, is the existing amplifier kind of had the bigger mounting kind of face bracket, and it made sure, well, the unit itself, I think it made it a 4U. I'm pretty sure this is a 4U. But it holds it inside there, and it gave it kind of ventilation above and below, which was pretty wise. So again, we'll see if how the MDX fits in there, but I definitely want 1U of space in between the MDX and the matrix switch to give that ventilation and give some space. I always try to make space here, either at least 1U, if not more than that, kind of between stuff. I feel like I need a stool. Oh, I know what I can do. I'll sit right here. So this is the danger zone where I should probably take this one off first, since personal tip, I'm left or right-handed. I've talked a lot, I think, maybe not on the channel, just to myself every time I play around on this rack or unscrew stuff, like one of those electric hand screwdrivers with adjustable or changeable tips would be awesome for this, because you could just set it right in there, push the button, and zip these rack screws like right in and right out. All right, so this is not as heavy as I feared it might be. Oh, it's a whole lot smaller too. Didn't even really remember. It's been in there so long. I didn't even really remember putting this in there. So we can pause for a second here and take a look at, what do you get? What do you get out of the Control4 one? Well, that's the close-up back panel of the Control4, triad effectively now. Distributed amplifier, 8 zones. We've got triggers, trigger on, trigger off, three-prong power cord. So this one is grounded, unlike the MDX. We've got what they call a global line input, and then we've got zone input. Every zone, the zones can be chained. There's a global in, global out, as well as some sensitivity. You can actually adjust the gain. You cannot adjust the gain on the MDX zones, at least with a physical. There's probably, it'll be digital gain inside there. There is bridges and the ability to do global or kind of local input, but it's dead. She's dead, Jim. So this is going to Best Buy. I made the comment in the video I filmed about the switch. Now I've got 2 devices to just take to Best Buy. If you didn't know, if you've got old, busted, no longer functional equipment, Best Buy does e-cycling. So, you can take cables, everything, cables, phones, devices, big devices like this, and they have a bin usually at like the customer service desk, and you don't have to pay. At least historically, you haven't had to anyway, and you can just drop stuff there, and at least it goes somewhere, hopefully, other than just a landfill, throwing it away in the regular trash. Makes it easy. It does painfully hurt to take. I don't even remember what that cost. Probably $1,000, basically just dumping $1,000 into a waste bin, and then whatever that other switch cost. Let's see, a couple questions popping up here. Music Jewel, thanks for joining in. Did the old one have subwoofer outs on it? No, it does not. It does not. There is only the left and right speaker channel on the Phoenix connector for wire, and then there's no analog coax outs or anything for the subwoofers. And Travis is saying, look at rack studs for stuff up to 45 pounds. Makes money in rack studs. What is rack studs, Travis? Is that like shelves or like? I'll have to check that out after the stream. Some things I do put on shelves. I do generally prefer to rack mount, since I have the rack where possible. Just makes everything be a little sturdier, right? A little heftier and all that. All right, so what are we looking at here? We got 1, 2, 3. It's a 3U space, and for fun, this one is much heavier. This is going to be a taller order, and we have a 2U. It is a 2U unit. It's not a 3U unit. So we'll be in good shape, provided all of my rack alignments. It's sweaty. Provided all my rack alignments are good, I'll be able to put a 1U spacer in between there, and I think I've got a bunch of them set aside. So we will definitely put this in the bottom 2 of the 3U that are there. Adjust some cameras. All right, I'm a little scared to try this. I feel like I should call my wife down. What is the weight? What is the weight of this thing? Now 24 pounds. I lift. sometimes more often than others, but all right, let's put these screws down here where they will be reachable. Put one on the screwdriver so we can grab it easy. And we'll do a little, see if we can do this actually. We'll do two, one on each screwdriver so that I only have to grab screwdriver to drive two of these in. Yeah, 124 pounds. It'd be funny if you fail. It will not be funny to drop a $3,500 amplifier onto the ground. I care less about my personal well-being as I would about wrecking this device. All right, there we are. So the way I like to do this is kind of hold in the back. All right, one. Kind of hold it in the back, push it in hard against the face. You can tell I've done this by myself a few times for a few pieces of gear. Not everyone, though, of course. There's no way that I'm, oh, there we go. There's no way I'm managing those pair of sounds by myself. All right. Once you get one in, one screw on a rack, you're usually pretty good. At least reasonably stable. Oh, that side could have fallen down a little bit. But we are good. It's heavy enough. All right, boom. Tighten this one. Tighten this one. And we will go ahead and do all four. I don't always put all four screws on every shelf or every device, but kind of like where on the bigger stuff, I never even grabbed my second magnetically ready screw. Look at that. Confidence, boys and girls. Probably just boys. All right, we are in. All right, if I had some cool sound effects or something, I would do it like an applause. All right. All right, we are golden. All right. Musical says, my week can mount servers holding them with one hand. Yeah, you know you got this. Hold it in the back, push it in hard. Yes. Rock studs would be easier. I will look up rock studs. I will definitely look at it. And then we got it. We got it. All right. So here's let's see how this works out. So I always like to give the maximum usability experience. If we notice the A on my Anthem, my AVM70 is disturbed. Half the A is gone. That got pulled off when I took the peel, the film off of the AVM70. So I was fairly disappointed in that. And obviously, like the stick of the peel did that. Let's see what happens. I should be filming this for a short. This doesn't feel as sticky as the AVM70 one. Okay, perfect. It did not remove any of the lettering. Oh, look at that. I almost don't want to put the STR upstairs because I could just sit down here, right? And now we've got three of them. MDX, AVM, and STR. If I had an MRX, we'd have the whole collection. We'd have the whole collection. I don't really have a reason to have an MRX though. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can get a 1U blank. Get a 1U blank in there. So I'll show this off a little bit. So here is the, I never really show this part in the videos. You always see me standing and you kind of see the upper part. But this whole section of our storage room here is dedicated to audio video stuff. right? And so I got a lot of things in these bins down here. I got a wire bin, all my Ethernet, HDMI, everything. I'm very organized. And then this is kind of the extras bin, but inside here, we should fairly quickly find there. All right. Yeah, some 1U blanks. So I got 2 of them to choose from. Make sure I look them over. Some of these over the years, putting stuff in, taking stuff out, have gotten, scratched up or whatever at times. But these ones are both looking pretty good. I don't think it matters which one we use. So put that back in there. And we need a couple of extra screws. I always want to screw a nice rack properly. I'm getting really into the innuendo here tonight. Keeping up with the Joneses. Some beautiful racks. I'm surrounded by amazing racks. All right, let's see if we can get this in here. If you've never done rack mounting before, one of the things you'll find is that there's like variance in setting things like, in the space. And so if you have bad tolerance at the bottom and then you carry that all the way up and then you try to take stuff out or put things in the middle, your variance can sometimes mess you up and things won't fit. But we have no variance problems here. Sweet. All right, so we're gonna screw this one in. I could technically even leave this one out, leave this blank out potentially, in order to have like airflow. What I probably should do is find, I wonder if Dan, I'm gonna have to ask Dan if he has any 1U blanks that are ventilated, where it was some slats or whatever, because that would be perfect in some of these locations in order to let a little convection, hot air convection effect work its magic. Baggies and baggies, all nicely labeled. So Julie's asking, can you have the Control4 repaired, that amp? No. So I talked about it at length with Dan. Those that don't know, personal friend of mine, Mr. Dan DiCarlo, here in Southeast Michigan, although he does ship a number of his items nationwide. He's been on the live streams with me. He's my Control4 integrator. I originally bought the amp from him many years ago. And he got in touch with them kind of on my behalf, tried to, pull whatever strings, levers and all that he could at Control4, but it's just out of warranty. It's too far out of warranty. It had already been replaced once, and that's how they were intent to leave it. So it goes. All right. Well, not physical. We got to get behind there. So let's set back up here, and we'll do some wiring. Plug things in the back. Hi Finest. Hey, Hi Finest 343. Welcome. Joey Greer. Hey, from Ann Arbor. I'm traveling up here for work this week. Awesome. I like Ann Arbor. We're not super far from there. I almost went to U of M, but I didn't. I was accepted there, but I chose not to attend school there. I should say, as a Michigander right now, we unfortunately had a terrible incident at Michigan State within these last few days. Just kind of ridiculous. But my heart and thoughts go out to anybody and everybody that might be watching from Michigan here or have connections to Michigan State University. All right, let's rotate this way and we will take this camera. I love this continuity camera thing. This is why you buy and use all of your stuff from one source. Apple ties everything together so nicely. All right, let's see. Okay, that where my hand is, that's the back of the MDX. Oh no, man, we're real close. Shoot. All right. Let me get I didn't really pay attention or consider the depth that we were dealing with here. Oh, I'm not going to even have no, okay. We're gonna get stuck. We're gonna be stuck. We're only gonna be able to do so much tonight, unfortunately, and I'm gonna have to maybe work on some things. So if we look here, that Control4 amp was way less deep. It was much more shallow than the MDX. This triad, the matrix switch up above it, I think the triad amp was only about as deep as the matrix switch, but here we've got like another whole hand roughly of depth on the MDX, and over here we're real close on those channel 1, channel 2 to the power strip. So I've got these Snap AV Wattbox power strips that run up both the sides of the rack, giving me all these plugs, which is awesome. But it's not going to be a problem. I'm going to have to see if I can show this off here. Yeah, so these are the power bricks like for my UMA and my cable modem. I'm going to have to move those down and then free up space right here. This power brick is going to have to move because I'm going to have cables plugged in to the back right there. That could have been a travesty if this thing was a couple of inches deeper. I really did not pay attention at all to the depth there. And then the problem we're going to have is if I hook up these plugs, let's see, I don't, yeah, they're not long enough. So I'm going to need, guess I'm buying the Mogamis. All right. Tonight I would be ordering up 8 Mogamis. We've got enough, and we'll be able to do enough to just play around and kind of demo, I think. We've got enough space to get at least a couple of zones connected with some audio. So we'll do that. All right, so I guess the next thing we should do then is get the Phoenix connectors off of all the speaker wire and get the Phoenix connectors on speaker wire. All right, the problem is I don't want to plug my cable modem. That would not be good for the purposes of a live stream, but luckily the one that's in the way is the UMA. So that's good. We did not go dark there. We'll just move the UMA. I'll just move it right here. All right. Move that down. Now that's nicely out of the way. We will unplug this. Oh wait, no, this is the, yeah, that's fine. This is going to be the one that plugs into the matrix. And then I've got an extra power cord here waiting for this. I'm probably going to move this down. Get everything out of the way. All right, we need a screwdriver. I'll probably put the headlight on just to give some more lights. This is gonna take a few minutes. See if we got any questions. Oprah Winfrey says, put the spacer in to help. Not sure when that comment came. Oh yeah, use the one you. Oh yeah, that's a super pro tip actually. So I do that. Every piece of equipment that's heavy always has at least a 1U under it, because if these amps ever need to come out, like let's just say for example somebody bought a pair of NADM 28s and they needed to remove their parasounds, you can pull them out and it gives you something to brace on. Yep, absolutely. That helps. I could have done that. I actually there's a shelf right under where the MDX is sitting, so that kind of did the same job for me there. All right, let's some headlight action going. And get our little screwdriver. Have the old man glasses handy. Let's see. That should work. I'll hop back down here. Turn this on. This thing's losing some of its luster as well. All right, I apologize. This may be the boringest part of the stream, but it needs to get done. So here we go. All right, right port. Oh, so this is the porch, right? And let's see what Dan wrote on him. Dan's always really good about writing on the cables. But he said our porch. Our porch. In some ways, I don't think it really matters in these zones, like which speaker is the right one and which speaker is the left one. But it's labeled on here, so we're just going to follow convention. All right, so this is the closest one. We're going to pull the new Phoenix out. So the right speaker has the dash on it. And we can just unscrew these. Fortunately, we're going to have to do this 8 times. 8 zones, 16 speakers. I would have liked bananas. Always generally prefer. So this is good. The right is on the right and the plus is in the plus. Wow, these things have been in there so long, they're like perfectly smashed. And where's the screw terminal? Okay. Shoe in. Ah. Bananas are nicer in my opinion, but the Phoenix connectors really save the space. And they just, on the back of this MDX, they just flat out didn't have the space to use banana plugs for all those speakers. They would have had to sorry, thinking, using my hands and talking at the same time. They would have really had to probably make it a 3U if they would have had banana plugs on there, because they would have needed all that real estate. Should have had Dan come over. Changing the network switch was definitely easier than this, far more expedient. than this. Here, let's try to get a better view of the handwork here. All right, so push that one in a little bit more. All right, one final torque. And we're in. So there we go. Phoenix connector attached. Put some light on there. Oop, not the flasher. There we go. Left, right. Give them a snug tug. We're looking good there. Oh, they're backwards. Shoot, that would have been a bad mistake. So we got right, positive, negative, negative, positive. And I just made an assumption that would have put my speakers out of phase. That's good to have noted. And then now we got the plus. It's positive, negative, negative, positive, positive, negative, negative, positive. Glad we found that on the first one. Before we... All right, one down. The rest will go much faster than that. So we take this little Phoenix connector and we just pop it right in there. And that's the first one. Here's number 2. This is the exercise room, AKA the home theater. The room formerly known as the exercise room. It's funny, actually. I've been oh, wait. All right, I'm going to do these one at a time so that I don't get confused. So we're going to unplug the right. And when we built our house, this house here, I talked myself out of doing a theater. There's a true story here. So this is right plus right negative. Let's do negative first. And we had that room all outfitted and ready to go as a gym. Awesome mirrors on the wall, big mirrors. Hung my old 57-inch Samsung in there. And then that room sat empty for a long time because I always went to my office every day. Always worked outside the home. Nobody ever really needed or wanted to actually use the room as a gym. So we converted it to the theater. And then wouldn't you know, COVID hits. We're home all the time. The gyms are closed. And even now I work from home multiple days a week as it is. And I find myself working out in the basement, sometimes wondering that, man, I'd really like to have a room to work out in. But I like the theater too. All right. So we got to make sure to get this. Positive, negative, negative, positive. I believe I may have technically exchanged speaker, what was designated as left and right, when I just wired that last one up. But it doesn't really matter. They're really just kind of two arbitrary speakers on the porch, or in most of these zones. And left and right is pretty arbitrary. If you're standing in the kitchen, I mean, if you stand on one side of the island, one speaker's on your left, one speaker's on your right. If you stand on the other side of the island, then the other speaker's on your left and the other speaker's on your right. So it's all relative. All right, 3, turret. This is the bedroom upstairs. And we got to make sure to really, so Dan used different wire on these ones. These are just different conductor colors. We've got red, black, white, and blue or green, not double red blacks. So let's take this one off. Number 3, we want the rights, positive and negative. That's black, red and black. I may just hook a few of these up and then stop so that we can play around with some more of the interesting setup and functions and stuff like that. But I want to be able to at least write negative. Yeah, pump some audio out into a room that I can hear it from inside here. Banana plugs. I'll take a step up in a second just to see if we had any comments or questions or anything as well. So if you do have any, feel free to fire them, post them into the comments there. I'm obviously not in a position to watch the chat right now, but I will check it out momentarily. All right, so left. White is negative, green is positive. White is negative, green is positive. White is negative. And green is positive. After this one, I will take a quick look at the chat. And then the next one is the playroom. That's the room just outside the door. And that's the one that I would want to probably experiment with first. And I think we can reach that one with these. Yep. All right, so we'll just do that one. And then I will not continue to connect speaker wire. I'll finish that another time. Let's take a look here. Julius asking, what brand gauge speaker wire are you using? I have no idea. The wire, yeah. So this wire was put in the house years ago when Dan did the original install. I think this might be 14 gauge, no, 16 gauge. And I'm not sure where he sources it from. I guess I can say that a lot of installers you'll find, and Dan included, source from Snap AV. So I would almost guarantee, make a strong bet that whatever the wire is, it's bulk wire, pure copper, I'm sure, and all that, but just regular copper wire, bulk wire from Snap. All right, we got right positive. Gotta get this thing done, gotta get the Lumigen in. I don't think I'm gonna do a stream for the Lumigen, at least for the initial setup, because I think that's gonna be involved. And I don't know exactly who, so same thing, white is negative. Not even sure how it's all gonna go down, if I'm gonna get put in contact with some folks from Lumigen to help set it up, program it, if my source will help me. Also got Chris, who I'm sure would be happy to talk some Lumigen. Chris Deering, he's been on the channel before when we did the Kaleidoscape stream. So we'll see. But I think there'll be a lot to that. I think it's better to maybe talk about it after the fact, not so much live. This is really bogging down the stream here, but we're almost done with the speaker connections. This will be the last one. All right. And we will get to see that pretty Anthem web UI. All right, so the other four are there. I will leave those connected. I will leave the Phoenix connections in on them. And let's go with, I don't remember. Oh wait, it would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So analog audio zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that I'll be able to end up being able to AirPlay to the proper zone. Oh, this is gonna barely reach. There we go. No, it's good, it's good. And then have audio. The one thing I don't like about these monoprice connectors that bugs me is they don't grip. The RCA tips, they are so loose. I don't like that. I think I've actually had some cables just come loose, kind of like fall out. And I haven't been a big fan of that. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so the right zone audio output is going to now the playroom, which is the room just outside the door of the room I'm in here. Big kids play area outside. That's all good. We need to get some power. Oh, we need a network. We need an Ethernet cable. Because, yeah, all right, we need an Ethernet cable. Let's get Ethernet connected. And take these things off. These are invaluable when stuff is close to your face. I swear they make you feel like nauseously sick when you look at anything else. All right, Ethernet. I hope I have a long enough cable. To make the run. That one is not it. I think any one of these will do the job, though. Question is, do I need the longest? Probably not. I think this will do the job. Again, folks, if you have the questions, comments, funny jokes, fire them out. Let me know what you have to say. All right. We're going to move on the switch. We're going to relocate some things here. We're going to relocate the security system Ethernet cable to that port so that we can put this other one So what is this? That's the controller. That's the UMA. Okay, that's the audio switch. So we're going to flip these around a little bit. We're going to put the UMA. Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, it does. Right, we're going to put the UMA up there. We're going to put the matrix there. And then the amp here. Oh, plenty of we're going to go ahead and take a couple other things out of here while we are in here. I still had the cables for the PC sitting in here. The PC is upstairs, I think, for good. So we don't need the PC wired in here anymore. But we do want to put this Ethernet cable into this jumbo wire and tie it up nice and tight. Route it down the side, going down. And I love it. I love it when a plan comes together. I love it when the stuff that you need to plug in just so happens to be on the side of the equipment that you want it to be on. So the Ethernet connection for this device here is in fact on the right hand side where I want it to be. That's good. And then I've got basically a big old jumble of Velcro strips here, like Velcro that I cut to size, cut to location, and put it all where it needs to go. All right, that's good. So we have now we have Ethernet, and we should check one more thing. What is going to be the trigger state of this amp for right now? Trigger. I'm just going to go auto. We're not going to use the trigger output. Try the auto sense. I'm hoping to be able to just leave this on auto sense anyway. Oh wow, there's an ARC port. I didn't realize that. There's a little mini HDMI port labeled ARC. Interesting. Okay, we're ready. Inaugural. I already got the power cable sitting here. Let's route this behind the UMA. UMA doesn't like something. I don't really care about the UMA right now. All right, let's take this cable. I kind of twist it around to get the right fit. And we will power up the MDX16 for the first time. Oh, we should plug in the triad matrix. That's been sitting unplugged this whole time. And then boom. All right, we're on. We have lights for Ethernet powering up. We're gonna have to check for firmware. All right, take this thing off. Let's see. Power and LAN. Red power light, blue LAN light. All right. Just in the interest of not stepping on everything, making a mess, I'm gonna put these cables, extra Ethernet cables away. I do have the video coming all about network setup and the Ethernet switch that I had to replace. I'm on a really bad string of devices failing me lately. I hope that ends. All right, let's see here. Get some visual on. Sorry about the jumpiness there. Okay. And let's plug this in because I don't want the phone to go out of juice. All right, we're back. We're back full on here, ready to go. All right, you can see the two lights there. We do have lights for the zones. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not sure what all else will actually light up on that display, but we will find out. So we need to find it in a web browser. Let's do that. And I will get a screen share up for that. All right, let's do this. Okay. Actually, we're going to well, I got one monitor to work with here, so I want to kind of be able to see everything that's going on. Okay, let's see now. Need the IP address of this Anthem. Let's log into the router. Yeah, it should be on DHCP. This will be a good test as well. So the one thing, and I made the videos about it, the one kind of pain point that I have had with the Anthem equipment is the network connectivity. So the AVM70 has consistently refused to upgrade its firmware without switching it to Wi-Fi for whatever reason. And I recently read a suggestion, I think it was in one of the video comments, that somebody was able to successfully get it to work by using DHCP instead of a fixed IP address. Of course, I have to use a fixed IP address because I use IP control and it needs to know the IP. But if we have some trouble updating, we will see what's what. It's on DHCP right now though. So, okay, cool. Boom, we're up. All right, so let me share this. Let's add. I wonder how I can do this. If I yeah, all right. now that I unmute myself. Can everybody hear me okay? Any problems with the audio? Am I audible? Things working fine? Test, test, test. Okay, good. Thank you, Julius. All right, I had to get those AirPods out of my ears. I think I sit too long now with buds in my ears, and I'm finding that it's bugging me. So I'm just gonna revert over to the microphone, the MacBook microphone. Hopefully the audio didn't take too much of a dive. Okay, let's present. Share screen. The window. This window. Where to go? This window. Boom, there we are. All right. I love the Anthem. I love the Anthem web UIs. You know, if you haven't seen one, there it is. So there's the AVM70 UI. Got a bunch of videos on there. Again, the STR does not have a web UI, but there we have the MDX. Very, very similar to the AVM70. So let's see what we got. This is my first time looking at this, so we'll spend a little bit of time in here, kind of see what's what. First thing we want to look for, there we go. It's all right. Good. Firmware update, current version 0.3.9544, latest version 0.3.9570. We probably could go to anthemav.com and we probably could look at the MDX16. We could look at the downloads and we could see that latest firmware, they don't give a version number here. Last updated 8.3.22. So it's been a little while. I'm going to download this. Okay, yep, here we go. 03.9570. Good. And that's the same version that it picked up online. We're going to do this update now. See how long this takes. Shouldn't take very long based on updating other Anthem gear. Let that roll. All right, so welcome, folks. We've been at it here a little while. Just for any of the late joiners, I appreciate the size of the audience we got, folks sticking around, especially through some of the slow speaker wiring there for a little bit. But tonight, the live stream, we've been setting up an MDX16, Anthem MDX16. We can see it somewhat down in the rack right there, right here. We took out my old and busted Control4 8-zone distribution amplifier, and we put in the new hotness. Oh, look at that. The lights are blinking across. Ooh, now they're going faster. It's like a light show, laser light show. This MDX16 is powering 8 zones of audio through my house. There are 8 discrete zones of audio, in-ceiling speakers in every zone, a couple of porches, a couple of rooms, 3 rooms. Oh, that's neat. 3 rooms in the basement, an office, a kitchen, and then a bedroom upstairs as well that we affectionately call the Lego room right now. It is inundated with Legos. I look forward to that room being the future Techthusiasm studio. My home audio has been down for a long time. My matrix switch allowing for airplay to multiple zones died last year, and I needed to buy a new one and replace it, and so I did. And wouldn't you know, within whatever 6 weeks of getting the matrix replaced, the amplifier bit the dust. And some of these older Control4 zone amps, I believe, have some kind of known deficiencies, known issues, etc. And mine finally fully gave up, requiring a replacement. And I didn't want to go with the same thing. I'm big on the Anthem. Big on the Anthem gear. Got the STR driving a living room. I got an AVM70 driving the theater. And I've completed the trifecta. How many Anthem devices can one rack system hold? Okay, so we've updated firmware 039570, latest version. Slightly different UI here. I do like how they kind of give you the help details, the pop-ups. Again, I'm a huge fan of Anthem UIs. To me, stuff that I've seen and used and such, Anthem has the best AV control UIs of anybody. Powerful, accessible, but easy to use and all of that at the same time. All right, so let's see what we get. So if we go back to the top, we have pages for zones. We have zone 1, zone 2, all on the top, and we have options to mono bridge and then stereo bridge. So that's what I was talking about. One of the things that you can do with this amp, crazy flexibility, comes with all of them, really, all the Anthem gear, from virtual inputs and mapping things, and we have that here, right? So we have 8 zones, 16 speakers, and within the zones, like you can mono bridge a zone for a single speaker, right? Basically use both amps instead of serving a stereo pair. You would be able to use both of the amps for one zone bridged to one speaker if you only have one speaker in the zone. Then you can stereo bridge 2 zones so that you're basically using 4 amplifiers to drive 2 speakers in one space effectively, all right, and pushing all of that power together. And so going back to, I think it was Travis, yes, that was considering having something like, or I'm sorry, no, Nikita P, that was considering having a device like this MDX kind of after some of his other processing, his MRX, to be able to do individual subs and localized subs. This is how you would accomplish that, being able to get the most power and most out of each of the discrete amplifiers that are available in the unit itself, powering like a fewer number of speakers, right? So if you had more complex setups, this thing, for all intents and purposes, could really just drive my living room, which is kind of pretty awesome, right? I could bridge these amps up and then run the subwoofers and run the main speakers off of like these multiple bridges, like just so much to be able to do. So let's see. Looks like I can click on any individual zone, right? And this is kind of the control page for it. And I'm learning as we go here. So I've not read any manual. Our TFM, not here. We're just tinkering, kind of going off the prior Anthem knowledge that I have, having used both the AVM70 and the STR. So we've got options for settings. We can turn the zone on. There's an option for arc there. I guess that allows you to map or enable that arc input for a given zone. That's pretty sweet. I didn't even realize that was on there. We can rename them. Yes, I will be doing that. So let's say, actually right now, let me check this. All right, we are up. All right, the one that we care about to demo with here is going to be zone 5. So let's go to zone 5 and let's call this Playroom. Hi. Oh, it changed it up top. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So when all of this stuff is named, the top display, all the zones are going to represent what they're actually connected to. That's pretty sweet. So input source, here you go. This is where Anthem really, is just aces, right? You can map any zone to any input. It doesn't even matter that the analog input, was in that zone section on the back of the device. You can cross map them. You can multi-map them. And the digitals are there as well. Analog 1 through 8. I don't see digital 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2 optical and 2 digital coaxial. So they're not named that way. I would have preferred them to be like optical 1 and 2 and like coax 1 and 2, but 1, 2, 3, 4 is fine there as well. Listening mode, mono, speaker profile. So, obviously Anthem is connected to Paradigm, I guess, and Martin Logan. That's interesting. Different speaker profiles for the left. I don't know why there's 2 here. Oh, it's okay. So I guess you set the manufacturer of your speaker, and then Motion CI, Motion XT, installer series stealth. So these are all of the specific Martin Logan and Paradigm. So we're just going to leave those all generic. And so this is disabled. We're not going to turn on a specific profile. We've got zone volume, an option for last used power on volume or a specific power on volume, a max volume, which is awesome, and then the ability to mute. We can enable if we, in fact, have a subwoofer. We don't, but I want to turn this on just so folks can see it, right? If we look in the bottom right-hand corner there, with subwoofer turned on, we have a crossover. We have level control, phase by degrees, polarity, powered by zone 6. What does that mean? Powered by zone. Oh, that's if you're like doing some of the bridging or controlling where it goes, and then you've got a profile for the subwoofer. So there's your base management, distribution amplifier per channel with subwoofer base management. You can do it manually in here, or we'll get to it eventually as well. You'd be able to actually run ARC in the space as well. And then we've got our regular kind of tone controls, bass, treble, and left and right boost there. All right, so that's our zones. Let's look at inputs. Here we go. Here's where we can name them all. And we have individual input trims. We can do, bulk action, input name, maximum 16 characters. Okay, so here we could call them by default, right? They're digital 1, digital 2, whatever. But, I don't know if I'll rename these or not. They're really not named for the zone. They're kind of named for the airplay targets, which are named for the zones anyway. So I might end up doing something in the long run, like just making them match, right? So playroom is analog 5. Now, if I go back here, we should see, playroom. Oh, that's zone 1. So we got to go back to 5. And there we go. So the zone name is playroom and the input source is its playroom. Officially label everything and be able to have an assurance that stuff is kind of like permanently mapped to the way you want it to be mapped. And then we've got a general tab. Preferences, auto off delay, currently set to 20 minutes. We can do 5, 10, 20 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 6 hours. 20 minutes is probably enough. I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go 1 hour. Auto on delay, 0 seconds is fine. Oh, I should think about it in the long run too, actually. When I plug this in, I technically plugged it in to the UPS. And I don't think I'll want this running on the UPS. I think I will want this running on the Furman. Front panel brightness, dim, high, or off. Maybe a little hard to see. I got the second camera there, but it doesn't really affect me too much here. Of course, it's the storage room. Digital output source. So that's for a pass-through, like a pass-through mapping. Unit ID. Unit ID, when toggled on, will blink the front power light and the rear power light. Oh, this is so if you have multiples of these things. Okay, yeah. Well, which one am I talking to? So this power LED right there is just blinking colors. Global input volume lock. I don't think we'll need that. All right, so that's main preferences. Information. We've got model name, device name, which is a combination of its model name and its MAC address, and then serial number, current firmware version. Network settings, right now we're on DHCP. That's fine. We could change over to a static IP if we so chose, and then input selection. Input selection zone. Okay, I'm not sure why. Let's see what the help says on this. This seems a little redundant. This sheet provides a quick summary of the input-output status of each zone. It's the current. Okay, it can either be used to confirm that the unit is responding to commands from a third party properly, or an easy way to confirm that specific zones or sources are playing properly. Okay, so it's like a debug menu. It's kind of redundant, but I guess if you wanted to see what was playing in what zone up here, you'd have to click through the zones. So this is pretty nice, actually, that you could go to one thing and you can see, like, okay, is everything mapped up like the way that it's supposed to be? Pretty good. Yeah, Julius says here, very flexible unit. Yeah, this is why I kind of wanted this to really be able to play around with this a little bit more. All right, I think we can try the test here. The question is, how do we want to do this? So I can AirPlay to the zone outside there, but I need to make sure to AirPlay something that's not going to get me dinged on YouTube. I need some like royalty-free music. So I'm going to take this. I could get my iPad and then I can leave everything on the stream. All right, if everybody bears with me for 10 seconds, I'm going to vanish. I'm going to go grab my iPad so that I can AirPlay and I can keep everything connected and running. It's upstairs. I will be right back. 10 seconds. Do not go away. All right, slightly longer than 10 seconds because I forgot where I put my iPad. But so we're good here. All right. Let us find. Yeah, actually, I know what I can do. I'll just play me. Nobody can. YouTube can't give me a hard time for playing myself. All right, we got the customizing. What's that you say? That's not the default. Customizing Kaleidoscape video from last Friday. All right, so if clicking in the wrong spot. Let's go here. Let's go to zone 5. Now, if I AirPlay, just make sure I'm not showing anything. Oh, we're not on cellular. Not on Wi-Fi. Got to put it back on Wi-Fi. Okay. So on Wi-Fi, there we go. So if I can, yeah, there's nothing secretive about that. See this big AirPlay list here? This is what I was kind of referring to earlier. I can AirPlay to the LG OLED upstairs. I can AirPlay to the AVM70. I can AirPlay to the Apple TVs. I can AirPlay to my MacBook Pro. But I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, I miscounted. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 zones of audio. Those are the zones in the areas, the rooms of the houses, or the rooms of the house, the porches outside, named as such: back porch, basement, craft room, front porch, kitchen, Lego room, as I said, office and theater. So this is how I want the family to be able to use it. I don't ever want the family to have to go to this Anthem web menu. I don't even want the family, again, to have to go to the Control4 app and mess around or mess kind of with anything there. I just want them to be able to do this. So if I, it's called basement. If I click basement as my AirPlay target, let's see, we should pick that up. So I'm AirPlaying to one of the channels on the triad matrix switch that's outputting to the rack amp. And you would by now be expecting the zone to have automatically turned on with auto sensing, and it didn't. All right, let's double check our trigger. All right, so we are going to just turn on the zone and listen. All right, I feel like we have a mismatch of ins to outs. Let's see if any of these zones turned on. No. All right. I don't want to bog down too much with this. Let's double check Control4, what Control4 thinks is going on. Oh, there we are. All right, so I am playing to the right zone. Let me show this. Can I do a... Let's just do this. Present. So this, all right, here we go. Share screen, window, Control4. Share this. So we can see that the playroom, it has my thumbnail here. So it's getting a thumbnail. It's getting data sent to it. The playroom zone of audio is getting something sent to it. It is turned on, and we are listening to the share, what they call the share bridge. That's how this stuff is set up. it's sending the name of the YouTube video. It's sending the thumbnail of the YouTube video. That's pretty cool. But we're just not getting the audio through. I can hit pause there and it actually pauses the video on the iPad. All right, so that side of the linkage is good. Let's go back to sharing the web UI here. And I gotta check these cables one more time. Yeah, this is confusing. We are in analog 5. We are in the zone. Stereo, turn it on. And more, all the way down to the bottom where we see the current cover art, and we have an option to upload cover art right here. This is how we change it. The other one I could turn on would be zone 7. That's the theater room. If we said turn on zone 7 from the analog input source, and I should hear this in the next room. If I go to the theater, the listen is. Well, unfortunately, we are not off. We are not off to an auspicious start, I guess. Let's try something else. Yep, Control4 appears to be doing the right thing. Oh, we have a light now. Ooh, I'm going to go check this. No audio. Our zone 5 light came on, though. Our zone 5 light came on. So what happens if I stop playing in Control4 and I turn the room off? Let's try this one more time. Airplay to the basement. Control4 comes on, gets the signal. The amp light is on. We're all blue, and we're just not getting audio. Volume is up. Zone power is on. We're in number 5. Yeah, kind of a bummer there. Well, so Julius is asking, when you run ARC, you will need to go to each room. That is correct. So the nice thing about ARC Genesis in general is that you don't run ARC wired into the device. I would take this laptop zone to zone with the stand and the microphone and set up shop in each room. And I presume the ARC Genesis setup for the MDX, allows you to indicate which zone you're EQing and then run that profile, and it'll upload that profile in all of that. We can actually see, just for fun, ARC has an update that I haven't updated to 174. That's fine. I'll download that. Yeah, here, let me share this. Let's present. Stop sharing that screen. Share this screen, window, Genesis. So here, oh, it's not in the stream, sorry. So there's ARC. So we can see Genesis is seeing all of the gear, right? It's seeing the preamp, it's seeing the 70, there's the MDX. Let's connect to it, connection complete. And there we go, configure measurement, right? We pick our zone. It even identified the renamed zone, which is nice, playroom. So you pick your zone, number of positions. It even has the speakers in the ceiling because it's assuming that basically that kind of setup. I would actually like to not do 5 locations. I kind of almost wish that ARC let you do like 3, but I guess I'll just pick like in the kitchen, right? You start sweet spot like in the middle of the island, and then you probably bubble around there. In the office, put the microphone in my office chair seat and bubble around there, something along those lines. But yeah, measure your system. Here we can, it's not going to let me go any further because I don't have the microphone connected. So I will definitely cover this in some future videos, though I'm eager to try this out. I don't know as well, like if is it all the capabilities, like does it do the phase control, and if you have a subwoofer. I don't actually have a subwoofer in any zone, so I guess I won't be able to fully test that. We could try this though, which could be interesting. Let's go, don't save changes. Let's go back, and then let me say that zone 1 has a subwoofer. So then if I come back to ARC and I launch ARC, connect to the MDX, and I go to measure zone 1. Oh, there's the sub. It's in the corner. It's in the image now. So it will EQ the sub, and hopefully maybe it does everything that the other Anthem stuff does as well, right, with regards to doing phase and delays and all of that sort of stuff. So we'll put that window away. I will say I do not have a subwoofer in zone 1 again. And yeah, we're still, there's some element here that I'm missing, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can play the sound from my iPad, but if I tell it to play to the basement zone, we're in the right spot. It's the playroom. Control4 gets its signal. Yeah, it's just not hitting. The channel is on. All of the connections are made. Speakers plugged in. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm going to have to play with this some more. I think this is kind of getting beyond the scope of what might be interesting on the stream, though. So let me ask, anybody have any other questions for tonight? I will probably go ahead after I close up here and get the rest of the speakers wired in. Maybe experiment some more. I may need some assistance, I guess potentially from Dan or my other contacts to see what's going on. I don't think something's wrong. I think something is just not getting the signal through. So Travis, what did the focals replace in your living room? Triads. My living room system, when we built the home originally, was a 7.2 setup. All triad silver LCR in walls, and then silver surrounds in the ceiling. And then I upgraded the living room to Atmos 7.2.4, added 4 triad silver sats overhead, I think they were. And then pulled that stuff out when I did the theater space. And then like the focal in rooms that I had so much, that I converted over to the focal in walls when I decided to take the theater architectural and the living room. One possibility for my endgame speakers, I think, in that living room will be the in-wall Utopias, but we'll see. I'm hoping once I get the rebuild done and I get the ability to talk with some other speaker brands, hopefully, who knows, maybe get the chance to try out some Perlissons, try out some Paradigm Founders and stuff like that. Some different in-walls. All right. Well, I hope tonight was a fun time, a fun hangout. Anyway, we got to hook up some gear. We got to put some gear in, take some gear out. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get to the point of, successfully hearing audio come out of those speakers in one of these rooms. I'm sure it's something simple that I'm just overlooking, but I will, of course, figure it out. And there'll be more content to come. So definitely more review, doing Arc Genesis, more thoughts, takes, and all of that on this MDX. So I think it looks great in the rack, and I'm very excited to hear how it sounds. I got to get this kitchen audio set up so that we stop racking up the hours on the OLED just to play music ambiance through the house. So coming up, let's see. No, not now. Go away there. Just Friday. Actually, I've got a bunch of, so it's going to be an interesting couple weeks here on the channel. Just a couple of quick updates before we call it a night. Let me just go to this. I've got a handful of videos made. We will be taking a family vacation coming up. So I'm trying to get a whole bunch of content structured so we don't have to miss any uploads. But I will be talking very soon, or in the weeks ahead anyway. I've got a handful of videos in mind about the Halo remotes and the experience with that. I want to do an Apple TV series around some settings and some features and capabilities of the Apple TV. I got a brand new take on living room PC gaming HDR. One of my, I think actually my most watched video, aside from the Peel the Film, is the one PC gaming one I did on HDR and Windows. So I kind of have an update to that coming. I got a little bit more on ripping process for discs, stuff like that. Some more kind of tour things made. I've got the video for the network infrastructure coming. I got the Lumagen to play with and more. So stay tuned. I'll still keep mixing in some shorts as well. Although I think you'll see, I'll talk about maybe this on a Sunday hangout coming up, but as quickly as we saw maybe a lot of creators making shorts, we may see them exiting the shorts business because shorts really don't pay. It's kind of ridiculous how little the revenue share for shorts is. We're talking like literally pennies on the dollar. But I think shorts are still kind of a little fun augmentation to the channel. So I just want to put it out there. Shorts will not become a focus. I'm not looking to become a shorts channel. I like the longer form stuff and I like these live streams and all that, but I definitely want to use all of the options that YouTube makes available right to the platform, making produced videos, doing the live streams, the hangouts, and augmenting what I have to say and the things that I'm covering with shorts. I've also got another exciting announcement. I think that will come out on Saturday. I've done some kind of one-on-one consultancies in the recent past, and they've gone very well. And so I'm thinking to kind of more formally offer that as a service. I got a video about that. So launching some more opportunities kind of under this Techthusiasm banner. And then hopefully in the weeks ahead as well, getting back online with some of the friends of the channel. So we had Dan on last week. I'd like to get back on with Brad again, Taurus, check in with his project and more. So we're dwindling off here. It's getting late as it is. I'm going to finish doing some of the rote wiring, see if I can get a final diagnosis on why we have no sound, and I will be back. So any last questions, any last comments, thoughts, feedback, let me know. And otherwise, we will call it a night. Thanks so much for watching. Please hit the like button, all that stuff on the way out. I would very much appreciate it. Hope you had a good time. I like doing these kind of lives. I think they're fun. Setting up the Halo remote last week, setting up the Apple TV a couple months ago, doing the Kaleidoscape, running things in the experience of buying a piece of gear, putting it in. And sometimes it doesn't always go exactly right the first time, right? So that's kind of the real reality of messing around with this stuff is, sometimes half the work is troubleshooting and diagnosing stuff. It'll be interesting to see what the root cause of this no audio is, but I will update everybody for sure in short order. So thanks so much for watching. Please do all that regular YouTube stuff. Come on back for more home theater discussion and fun. Thanks, everyone.